The theater. I'm listening to her. She's so um I'm listening to this person who's telling me how I'm gonna be tortured. I call that the being the theater. I'm listening to her. She sounds very fragile. She wants to sound very like relaxed and just like they start creating a voice of some sort. I know in reality this person is perhaps a very scary person, somebody who's scared easily, somebody who's far from brave. But this program has empowered the weakest, which is why they can do what they do. She tells me how I'm going to be tortured, and she try to distance themselves because I know they torture children, I know they torture women, I know they do very terrible things to some of the most vulnerable infants included. She's trying to escape from that. This is a childlike individual that they've been training, I guess, right? Because she knows that I know that they torture very, very, very vulnerable people, including children. They're trying to find a way to make it seem like this is a different program. We don't torture children. Matter of fact, this pedophilia type of torture, this is different. It's not us. But there's no way to escape that. That's why when I say you're going to be reimbursed, as much as she's trying to escape that part, she knows it will. Where she's in a program that does the foulest things, even to babies, and wanted to come up with this fantasy where, no, it's our rapes. Basically, they're saying I'm going to be framed and they're going to rape me, but she knows that in that program, they are raping a lot of women, which she's employed by, contracted by. Right? A lot of women talks about the different sexual torture. That's why she said, oh, it's our torture. The theater they've created is a theater to differentiate themselves, right? Is try to escape from the fact that they're in this program, where I was put in this program by this employer of mine who spent a lot of money on very influenceable people. One of those people was a pedophile called Roy Moore, right? This person cannot say that name, right? But they're trying to find a way to escape this reality. Unfortunately for this childlike individual, reality has been coming back to her. She doesn't understand that in the things she's involved in, there is no way to escape. It's going to come to you one way or another. You're God today, but you're nothing for real. You work for pedophiles, and you actually are the pedos. Now, me, I understand, because unfortunately for them, they've been humiliated in different ways. Right, I didn't have to do much. I say Roy Moore has nothing to do with me, but the fact that she cannot say Roy Moore in this open way is just an indication of reality. Right, the fact that she can say the name of this pedophile that people are literally making fun of is reality. Because reality is these people are just the bottom feeders for these pedophiles in these agencies, which this BuzzFeed article has been exposing them for the amount of issues with pedophilia there. And now she's trying to come up with this. They try to make it seem like there's this group of strong artists, like femme fatale, like individual, when in reality they just contracted trash. And they've been described by many the same way I'm seeing them. So there's nothing unique about them. But they've tried so hard to make themselves appear as something else. So they say, oh, we're going to frame you, which is an indication of what kind of people they are. They're going to rape you. It's like, okay, you rape women and children, I understand. Sorry, you rape women and torture children sexually. Yes, these people doing this to me currently and have tortured women and children. Right? So I know. And so when she says these things about me being tortured, I'm just listening to her talking. And I'm like, I know she's like a childlike person. She knows exactly what's going to happen to me. She doesn't know what's going to happen to her. But it's for sure things are going to come back. And I've been right a lot of times. That's the thing. In my little isolated, this tormented world, I've been right. And I've been seeing her for what she is. She tells me how I'm going to lose my teeth. Okay, that's what I have said. So this is the norm. Because this is what the program does. You do very, very, very horrible things to women. The old school way, the new school way. The old school way is like they're saying that, no, we're not even going to use direct energy. People are going to do that to you directly. Okay, I guess it's better than or worse than using this remote military grade weaponry that you've been using on me and others. I know your status in this situation. I know where you stand here. You are very much a bottom feeder working in this program that torture women and children. I understand. There's no way I'm not going to let them live their fantasy. You can sound any way you want. You can use this mean, calm voice and tell me I'm going to be tortured. But I know that you're going to be reimbursed. I don't think you're going to be tortured, but I think life is not going to be easy for you. And it's going to come back mean. Because I know what you do to even women and children, you. So these people who live in this fantasy want to escape. But this is why I make these videos. They were trying to paint me. They want to paint me like a Roy Moore, right? They can't even say Roy Moore. Now they say Roy, right? Do you understand the patheticness of these people? Roy Moore was an assistant DA at the time who, when he was in his 30s, would go and pick up kids from different places, from the YMCA, from the malls, from places where kids would be, right? And he would pick up these kids and do things with them, and do things with them sexually. This 30-some-year-old assistant DA, right? He even used his power. He had a lot of influence in the area, right? And he would even call schools and pick these kids from schools. Now, you understand this person who wanted to live in this fantasy where I am this individual that Roy Moore is. Now, wanting me to be that person, reality was so bad to her in that point where I can say the name of that person in her face and she will struggle to say her name, his name. They kind of have to find ways around it. And so what they've done today is to find what they can manipulate, create as false fantasy, as false reality, false memories, creating version of memory. I've talked about the false memories before many times. There's this moment when I'm 23 years old. I am at this party. This is a summer party. I'm going to this house. I meet this girl, right? Meet this girl, get her number and everything else. She's young. She's about to go to college too. I'm 23 years old. When I meet her on a date, she tells me it's 1 week before her 18th birthday. I'm 23 years old. Right? Okay, I'm 23. This girl is 17, turning 18 in 1 week. Literally. Things go well. Okay. I end up just kissing this girl. She's 1 week away from turning 18. I'm 23 years old. On her 18th birthday, we meet up and we end up being intimate. So I am intimate with her on her 18th birthday. I'm 23 years old. Right? And they're like, but you kissed her a week before her 18th birthday when you were 23 years old. That's proof that you like teenage kids. And this is what they try to come up with. Me being with somebody who was 18 years old when I was 23 years old. But they say you kissed her a week before her birthday. That's proof that you are like a Roy Moore, the 30-some-year-old man that was picking up kids as young as 14 years old. Now, what you see here, I have messages with her. Of course, I know who she is. I'm like, okay, go talk to her and tell her how I've robbed her from her youth. You understand? Reality for them is whatever they can find ways to make you subscribe to that. I was intimate with this 18-year-old girl when I was 23. But they're like, but you kissed her a week before, you see? And it's funny, like, one point they're like, oh, you just rounded, because I was telling her, yeah, I remember this girl, yeah, she was 18. It's like, oh, but the first time you kissed her was when she a week before her birthday, so you rounded to 18. You made her a week older. You made her be a week older than her actual age. And I remember I had this conversation before. I was talking about it. It's like, you guys are delusional, because they're like, you rounded, and I was saying she's just like a week. I added an extra week, and they're like, oh, a week older. And now they're like saying, oh, you see, we say a week older. I know the technology is sophisticated. for them to know that I'm going to say these things. But it doesn't. I'm nothing new here. Yes. I kissed this girl a week before she turns 18. And I was with her when she was 18. I was 23 years old. And you see, they're like, oh, Robert. They can't say Roy Moore, so they try to say R. Kelly. Because they can't say Roy Moore, a man who's in his 30s, picking up kids from the YMCAs, from places where kids would be. They have to create this reality where me, who was with a 18-year-old, yes, I'm going to round it to when I was intimate with her. Not a week before. To when she was 18. The first time I saw her was 2 weeks before she turns 18. The week I went I went on a date a week before she was 18, and I ended up being with her sexually when she was 18. And me, I was a 23-year-old college student. This is the reality these people have to live for. Now, you understand, they have nothing real. This is the things they talk about. I'm looking at this message. What you're seeing here is a message of me or her. The summer of 2011. You see me talking to her about going to college and house college, and her about to come to college somewhere in a place near me. This is their proof. You understand? And somebody was like, oh, you just rounded. You added a week to her actual age. You understand? This is the patheticness of these people. And they will try, because the way they manipulate my brain, they try to create patterns with illogicalness. Oh, you see that? That's a pattern here. And so I was like, I wanted to talk about it. But I was like, because I know my brain can be so manipulated. I was like, let me wait a little bit. And you hear this childlike individual who not only manipulate me in every disturbing pedophilia ways, and even create false memory, creating versions of me, of all kinds. Try to look for what to come up with. And like, you're a con man. You understand? This is the people who nothing's going to come back to them. It is pathetic. And they're like, oh my gosh, we got proof. These people came and say Roy Moore, a 35-year-old man or 30-some-year-old man that was picking up kids at the YMCA. And then try to talk about me, a 23 with an 18-year-old. I'm saying 18 because that's when we became intimate. And yes, a week before that, I kissed with her. These people are the delusion. It's like, no, you just ran it in 1 week. You see, and they keep calling me Robert instead of Roy Moore. This is how pathetic these low life are. So to all my target individuals, these people are so sad. And they tell me how I'm going to be tortured. For sure, somebody like that who do these sad, pathetic things will get reimbursed. I don't have doubts. And you heard this person tell me how I'm going to be tortured. I was like, phew. I'm going to be tortured because you can't say Roy Moore. You see how weird this is? Do you understand what I say is magical sometimes? What you're seeing, what I'm showing here, is me talking to her on our Facebook, or not even me talking to her on the messaging, asking me how college is, talking about how is she ready for college? She's about to start college at the same time. We talk about are you adjusted to the weather in wherever college she is. While they can't say the name of this person, you will hear this assistant DA. That is the reality that they cannot escape from.
Moore even went to the mall to get into the holiday spirit. One woman recalls that she was 14 and working as Santa's helper at the Gadsden Mall in 1977 when Moore first spoke to her and told her she would look pretty. 2 years later, when she was 16, he asked her out on dates. He hit on one of Santa's elves. Well, a true evangelical, he's putting the Christ back in Christmas.
Wow.
And but hear the sleigh bells jingling, ring, ting, tingling too. It wasn't just the mall, folks. One Alabama journalist claims that Moore was also banned from the YMCA for his inappropriate behavior as soliciting sex from young girls. And don't forget, he did that while he was assistant DA. The assistant DAA.
So, reality versus the things they have to try to paint it in a different fashion. Saying, oh, you rounded. No, me as a 23-year-old was first time sexually intimate with an 18-year-old. And yes, a week before her 18th birthday, we kissed. This is how pathetic their life when they can't even say the name of this man, who when he was in his 30s was picking up kids as that young. You understand how reality shows them reality. And they're like, oh, you just rounded. So pathetic.